Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is Tyler Jones, and you're listening to the Element Podcast.
Now swim across and meet you on the other side. I'm not sure why we even had to fight. We grew up in the same situation. The river between us caused a lot of frustration. Brothers, let's forgive and forget. There's blood in the river, and that's why they call it the red.
What's happening, all my woods people? Today is a very different experience for us personally. For all the listeners of this podcast, we are actually videoing this thing. So we have not done many of these. So there could be one media format or the other that kind of gets ignored. So sorry that happens. But we felt like we've had several questions about what our camo system looks like, or a certain piece of camo, because we wear some higher end stuff, and guys don't want to, they don't want to go spend like $300 on like a jacket if it's like not exactly what they want. I feel like, you know what I mean? I totally understand that, because I'm the same way. But today it's everything camo. What do you got there? Yeah. Everything camo, and this is the green stuff. So, but it's all whitetail camo today. We're not talking anything really too much about like what our elk setup looks like or anything, which mine currently is still in the process of developing there.
We do use the green stuff and the elevated stuff, the gray stuff, in both for whitetail. So, multi-purpose pieces laying around here. Yeah.
So, anyway, it's all camo today. It's all whitetail camo. We're going to talk about our systems. We're going to lay everything out for the listener. And we are going to start with the next to skin stuff, I guess, right?
My favorite.
All right, so our systems are a little bit different, probably. We've got different pieces of gear that we utilize, and so...
Tyler, I mean, overall, I think that you maybe are a touch more cold-natured than I am. Not much, but just a little bit, so... A lot of times we'll be doing a little bit different stuff in the stand,
for
too.
sure. Like I'll have like 15 layers on, and you won't.
Well, we decided we think it's because you're long limbs, right?
Yeah,
you get a little bit colder because of that.
Could be. I know, like my granddad, he's 6'6",
yeah.
and he has circulation issues. I mean, with his, he's just got super long legs, you know. So that I think that's a real deal for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it may just be an excuse for me because I'm not like overly large. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so starting. I'll just start with like the bottom side of things, and if I can find it, man, I got stuff everywhere, and I actually like had a this is sad. I got like I haven't pulled this stuff out in a while, right? So it's pretty dusty, and I start pulling this stuff out, and I have like an allergy attack right before we get on here. Anyway, these are this is what I've been wearing actually on my bottoms. This is merino, and it's First Lite. And I bought this going into a sheep hunt in 2016. And it's just a First Lite merino. I can't tell you a whole lot about this stuff because I'm not a gear nerd. Casey's a lot better with the names and stuff like that. But anyway, this stuff is awesome. Like, you can wear this several days in a row. It doesn't stink. I mean, I wore it 8 days in a row in British Columbia, and I couldn't really smell like from the garment, I couldn't smell myself, you know? So, and then I wore that for several years too, which is the same thing, merino base layer up top. And one of them's like a quarter zip and one of them's just a standard shirt.
Same thickness, you think, or are they a little different?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think
if I remember right, these are the lightweight ones, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a 190 weight merino. I don't really remember for sure, but you can check me on that. I don't know, but
I doubled them up because they're not super warm, but they were good. They're good when you're like out either stalking on the ground with whitetails or if you're sheep hunting. Obviously, this is what I got this first Lite for. I was told by the guy I was going with that the first Lite merino was the least itchy stuff that he had tried on, so I went ahead and got it. So anyway, cool. You're running more.
Yeah, I run more synthetic stuff for base layers. Now I do have a piece that you're going to talk about here in a second. That's Sitka. Don't you have a piece like a lightweight merino Sitka as well?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so I have that, but let's talk about the synthetic stuff I wear. I actually, pretty much no matter where I'm hunting and what I'm doing, if it is anything to where it's cool, right? Like even if it's going to warm up during the day, but if it's cool in the morning, I'm going to put on a pair of these synthetic. These are Russell. Like they might have been like $9, I think, at Walmart. Synthetic bottom base layers, and I feel like these do a couple things. They help me keep from chafing, which is pretty handy. We've actually been talking about that today because we went and did a bunch of whitetail scouting and putting out cameras, and it was sweaty, nasty out there.
Yes,
but they help with that. They do get a little bit more funky, but they're cheap, so you can buy 3 or 4 pairs, especially if you're not on a backpack hunt. Not a big deal. But I mean, it's like pretty much my go-to thing in the morning, no matter what time of year it is. And then I
probably should entertain something like that because if you're walking some distance in a merino and you get it kind of sweaty, it can get to where, I mean, they don't dry out very quick.
Yeah, they don't dry at all. These here, they dry out quick.
Yeah.
So they're pretty handy for that. And then I got, let's see here, I have another base layer or something somewhere. Everything's so spread out.
Is it something like this?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
There you go.
But I have one somewhere. Anyways, this is the Sitka Core Lightweight. Also kind of my go-to. I'm going to wear this whitetail hunting pretty much every time I go in the woods, no matter what. It kind of helps keep nasty funk off of my like nicer pieces that I don't like to put in the wash machine. I'll wash this thing 100 times, right? And it's always good to have, like if you're walking to the stand or whatever, if it's still warm, this is going to be something that dries out pretty quick. I've gotten like soaked in sweat and then made it to the stand in this and been dry in like 20 or 30 minutes. So
and I wore this. So I wore the first Lite stuff in 2017 and prior to 2016 as well. But this is what I wore on Next to Skin all year too. It's a synthetic, so it dries out much quicker than a merino, and it's actually really pretty comfortable for a synthetic, I think. So
yeah, I love them. I mean, it's kind of a shirt that I just don't mind wearing. Anyways, I entertained buying a brown one or something.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
So when it does like start getting a touch warmer or colder, I'm starting to need to be warmer, I'll usually put these on. These are a Realtree synthetic base layer, kind of a glorified sweatpant pretty much, but just enough to kind of have a little extra layer of insulation on there. They're pretty much a fleece is about what they are.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a reason why I can go with this, and we'll talk about that later. But this whole thing is really about layering, right? So having one type of outer layer allows you to kind of go a different direction from some of your under layers, right? So that's my touch warmer.
We do quite a bit of walking, or if we're on the ground, obviously we're walking a lot when we're hunting, but we do quite a bit of walking. So when you're walking to a stand, when you're on public, for instance, like you may need to walk in quite a ways just to get past where people are going to be hunting. And layering is so key. And also, having those synthetics and stuff like that to keep the sweat, down. Carrying clothes with you. I mean, we were talking about that today on the way into some of the places that we scouted. It was like you were talking about how you usually carry extra socks and that you used to carry a whole change of set of clothes back in 2013.
Yeah, if I was going way far back, and I was sitting all day on those sits too, so it'd be worth it. I would just wear like street clothes in and then put those in my backpack, like stripped down naked at like 4:30 in the morning, which is not fun sometimes. And then put all my hunting clothes on, climb up in the tree, and then draw my stuff up. And that worked pretty well. And one of the things to talk about on that is that if you're not doing that, sometimes you kind of have to commit to your bottom layer, except for maybe your shell, and we'll talk about that more later. But like with these, I kind of have to decide, at least for a morning or evening hunt, what I'm going to wear. So if we're going to be more active, I'm probably going to go to where I'm maybe a touch cold on my lowers, just so that I'm not burning up, because it stinks to be cold, but it's really probably worse to be burning up, because it's one of those things you can't really stand. You know? You mentioned socks a while ago, and I guess that's kind of part of the base layer kind of thing. I'm kind of serious about socks these days.
Yeah, dude, I need some sock advice.
Okay,
so I'm listening.
I've liked there's 2 pairs of socks that I have that I really like and I really enjoy.
Can I feel those?
Yes, you can. They're clean.
Oh, good.
They're inside out, too, so they're not quite that. Here, let's turn one of them
Sure.
out right side out so they look right, maybe if people are trying to buy them off the shelf or whatever. These are, I believe, farm to feet is what they are. Yeah, farm to feet,
it's like
100%
a boutique.
American. Yeah, they're kind of a specialty that all they do is make socks. They're not like a big brand that happens to have some socks. So they have a little bit of cushion in the toe and the heel, and then a little bit of, I don't know, something ribbing on top or whatever. But I found that these are cool when they need to be, and they're warm when they need to be. So,
cool.
And they're 100% merino, or not 100%, but they are merino. I think it's going to be a little bit of poly blend in there.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not super stretchy.
Some elasticity. But anyways, these are farm to feet. I also have a pair of smart wools that I like that are very similar in design, but not quite as fancy. These suckers right here, I can wear 4 or 5 days and not be smelly in, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, and then you pair those with the right pair of boots, and I mean, I've been warmed down to some really cold temps.
Yeah.
So I think something I've figured out, and we might discuss this more with boots in a little bit, but you kind of tend to want to really stack a bunch of socks together to stay warm. And I figured out the more room I can have in my boot, the warmer my foot stays. Probably because I'm compressing my foot and restricting circulation.
Yeah.
So if I can just put on a thin pair of warm socks, I stay way warmer than I do if I try to. Because I've got this giant pair of nasty wool socks over here too that are kind of itchy or whatever. And if you put those on over, man, my foot gets cold.
Yeah.
It's kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah. I used to wear a ton of those itchy wool socks when my dad bought me everything.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, sure.
And so
they're good in some duck waders for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. But and the thing is, in duck waders, you're usually pretty active throughout most of the morning, and at 9 o'clock, you're heading back to get McDonald's or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's different.
Yeah.
For on top of the synthetic type of stuff or the very base layer, I've got I wore these things a lot, and these so sometimes Sitka's system kind of confuses me a little bit. And complete transparency, guys. A lot of the Sitka that we have was given to us.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
we did buy some of it.
We did buy some of it, but at the same time, we've had a lot of this given to us. So, that's why we have so much, So, but it's good because we can sit here and talk about it, and you can go, oh, well, I want this one, but I don't want that one. You can make decisions based on that. Hopefully, that's what the aim of this is.
Yeah.
So this, I don't know what's they have these core lightweights, and
that's a merino lightweight.
Things.
That's a merino heavyweight.
Okay, so I knew this was a merino heavyweight. This is a merino lightweight, and I mean it's see through pretty much. But it's for moisture wicking purposes, I guess, right?
Yeah. I have both these pieces. Couldn't find them when I was coming over here, so I figured Tyler had them, so we could both share them. If I can interject a little bit on them, if you're a southern hunter, I don't know if this merino lightweight piece has a spot in your lineup because it's not really that warm. Okay, it's made for lightweight duty. And if you get sweaty in this thing, it takes a long time to dry out. I mean, a long time. I wore this in an early season hunt last year where it rained a touch, and, I mean, I didn't dry out the whole morning.
Yeah.
And I felt like it's the same thing as the synthetic one, but maybe it's got a touch more of, odor protection or whatever.
Yeah.
I just felt
so I stack these two together. So these being the lightweight and the heavyweight, and they don't. This is almost like an insert to this. It doesn't come out the whole season usually, or for several weeks at a time. So it's kind of like put the synthetic on first, then put these on, and it's just kind of that layering. Like you were talking about, it's just a matter of layering and hopefully creating a little bit of barrier in between. Because to me, this heavyweight is pretty something that I use quite a bit. It's very essential, and I don't want that. I don't want this to get wet, whatever at all. Whatever cost. So I usually hope that, like, if there does leak through any sweat in that it'll get on this. And so when I go in, I usually actually have these two put together, and I don't always wear these when I'm walking in. It's a lot of times it's just the synthetic if it's a pretty good haul.
Even it's just frosty morning.
Yeah.
The first 5 minutes you can deal with until you warm up.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm with you. That merino heavyweight is one of my more favorite Sitka pieces, and it's not very expensive.
It's legit. It's legit. Yeah.
It's a good piece, and I think that kind of the counterpart to it is my Sitka Fanatic hoodie, which I've worn this a lot. You were commenting before we got on here, Mr. Monkey Man has holes over here in the sleeve, but I think that I like the merino heavyweight way more than I do this Fanatic hoodie. Like, if there was a hood on that thing, it would be the perfect piece. Like, for around here in Texas, except for like the really cold days, like that's what you would wear.
But at the same time, like a hood on an outer is really all that I would kind of want anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
if this was all you were wearing, if that was your last layer. But like when it gets cold is usually when I need a hood, and so like I don't want too many hoods like stacked up in my layer, you know, because give you that
exactly.
knock your head forward or whatever. But, but I'm with you. Like I like the heavyweight better.
Yeah,
and honestly, like this sucker gets kind of restricting a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. This is one of the first pieces I bought. Is this and the jacket I have, I think, and some pants. And after wearing it a lot, I don't actually take this near as often as what I used to. It's, I don't know, it's a synthetic piece. I don't feel like it's that warm. There's no wind protection in it. I mean, it's nice. It's comfortable. Might be better for, like, as a ride around town piece or something like that, you know. But it's still okay.
I like the ninja mask in it.
Yeah,
like that'll keep your face, which I tend to carry buff now, so I don't really need that. But when I have used it, it'll keep your face really warm.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't take much to make your face warm.
And
you utilize that more than I do.
Yeah, and I didn't use it much this year either.
I used to dip a long time ago, so I really got used to never having anything over my face because it doesn't end well. I don't do that anymore, but I still kind of have this thing where I don't like things covering my mouth and face. But when it's too cold, it's worth it.
Yeah.
One thing about the Fanatic is that it has these little ninja mitt things on it, and I'm not going to say this cost me a deer, but it impaired my ability to shoot a public land deer in 2016.
Yeah.
Because I forgot I had this mitten on, so at full draw, I pulled it off with my teeth, and it was kind of a weird deal.
What it did was it took a 40-yard like broadside standing still shot with a deer that was super relaxed to I got to pull this thing off my teeth. Now he's at 30 and moving, and I have to grunt stop him, and he's quartering 2, and I'm skinning hair off his back because he's so amped up at that point.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
That's what the issue was, and hopefully if I can find that footage, I'll interject it in the video here.
I bet you can. Before, are you moving on to outer stuff?
I was just going to move on to like pants, but if you got something else,
I'm just going to throw a couple other things in that I use for bases. This is a pair of cheap Bass Pro extra heavy synthetics that I have. I bought these in 2013 and still use them. I think they're actually made for skiing more than they are for hunting. And they are super duper warm, but they're something that you can't walk in much or you'll sweat really bad. So, like, if it's cold, I'll bust these out, but that's hardly ever. So just thought I'd throw that in there. One of the ways you can sometimes find cheaper hunting gear is to look outside the hunting space. Yeah. And that's kind of where those came from. It's like it was over in the winter sports area at Bass Pro or whatever.
Well, speaking of that, my the guy that I went sheep hunting with, Heath, you know him. These people don't, but he's tested a lot of gear because he's been on lots of sheep hunts and Alaska bear and all these different things, you know. And he said that he thought, like, he would take what he would do for a wind test is put his hand in like a sleeve and just blow on it and say, like, how windproof is this actual, you know, windproof thing? And he said that North Face was the best thing windproof wise that he had found. And so like you said, outside the hunting spectrum, sometimes they're just companies that have been around a long time that know how to make mountaineering gear or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
A little better than the camo companies. So, but our camo companies are coming a long ways these days.
That's right,
you know?
man. Yeah, we're doing a lot better than we were back in the year 2000.
Yeah, exactly. Or 2012. Real quick, I'll just touch on my hats. This is a hat you wear as well. It's just like a generic Sitka hat. This is one they sent to us last year, but like it gets smoking hot in Texas in October, and it's just, as you can see, maybe it's just mesh. It's see-through mesh. It's super lightweight, and for me, I've got like really thick hair, and so the heat can build up in my on my head really quickly. Especially if I haven't had a haircut in a while. I mean, it's a real thing, and so like. I can definitely feel like heat trapped in with this. Or if like you're just moving around, like if we're stalking deer on the ground and decoying or whatever, just a couple options here to think about, I guess.
One of the things with that mesh one though is it is not mosquito proof.
No,
like they will bite through that.
They will straight up get you.
And when you have as much skin on top of your head as I do, like it's a bad deal.
Yeah.
While we're on headwear, this is kind of my go-to combo is. This thing, which we got at the TRCP Media Summit in 2017.
I think that's right.
This thing is super duper warm. I love this thing.
It is.
You have one too, I think, right?
Yep.
And kind of my go-to setup is to wear that thicker hat and then just put this over the top of it. And I like having a hat bill, like it's just something, I don't know, kind of like a security blanket. I mean, I've worn a hat my whole life,
Me too.
right? So I don't like having to take the hat off to put this on, and honestly, it kind of sits too far down on my head anyways. I don't like it to be able to see it. My brow
I have
line.
a giant head, and it doesn't sit down too far on my.
Okay. So I have a problem with that.
I have, but it's big enough that it can cover my ears, and I have a big head. So, if you have a big head, I mean, this probably will still fit you.
But I think this is called. I don't know what it's called. Look for the pricier Sitka beanie, and this is it. It's like, I don't know. It's Arctic something or something like that. I can't remember, but
it's made of the windproof, right?
Yeah, it's got Primaloft in it. I don't know if it has the
Windproof
wind blocker or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But it's super warm, so nice thing to have, and it's a touch water resistant too.
Yeah, and it's orange. So a lot of times, like, we can take this thing and put it on top of our head, and it's got like this little fold, or whatever, so that when you're walking in, like, you don't trap in too much heat. But if you've got like this warm, it's like dual purpose. You got warmth and you've got the blaze. So pretty cool.
The blaze.
This is one of my pants. I wear a couple different pants during the year depending on what I'm doing. But if I'm tree stand hunting especially, I'll usually wear this right here. And there are like all kinds of stuff in these pockets. I carry like all this different stuff, or like these are, public land hangers and ropes or whatever to hang stuff with and whatever we got. But anyway, just some kind of weird, the belt that I actually got these from a buddy who was on the podcast not too long ago. And he, I guess, had taken the belt out, so I just have to use my old Realtree belt here or whatever, so no big deal. But these are the Sitka Equinox pant, and as you can tell, they get rode hard during the season. This, it looks faded maybe from a distance on video, but it's not. It's just mud from just cranking it out on the plains all season long. But these pants I do like. They may be a touch heavy, I guess you could say, but I like what they're made of. I think that they are durable for the most part.
Sure.
And
we both have those.
They kind of have some warmth to them because of what they're made of too.
Yeah.
I feel like
I wear mine pretty often too, but I do find that just I don't know the pants thing. I wear those a lot when it's earlier season, but a lot of the time if it's later season, I will end up wearing these. They're Prana Zions. If you look at that one, it's like perfect for tree color, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like what you'd call camo, but it's the right color. It's like that kind of darker kind of gray. And then I'll pair that with an extra outer layer pretty soon after I get in the tree stand. Mm-hmm. So even though it's not camo, it works really well for me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that those are just a touch heavy, but they're they're not made to be a hiking pant. They're made to be a tree stand pant. And they got some
exactly.
really convenient pockets and some
Dude,
great
the
things.
pockets are great. Yeah. Like you can see these big cargo side pockets, and then they've got zips on top of that, and these are big pockets. Also, this little thing right here like protects it from getting scuffed up and eventually coming undone, where you would put your pocket knife or whatever, So I like that kind of stuff. They've definitely thought about it, but yeah, like I understand what you're saying there, because I wear the same kind of thing on some, I guess, like last year after I shot Frankenstein. When I went back in there, like I wanted to kind of camo up just in case, like if I see that deer, he gets up or whatever and he's wounded and I got to kneel down or something and not let him see me, I wanted to camo up. So I did up top, and I wore these, which are, I don't know the exact model or whatever, but they're Wrangler made. They sold these in Walmart. If you can find them, good luck. But they may still have some. You found some on sale recently.
Yeah, I bought those for $13.
They were $21 when I bought them.
Yeah, we bought them in Montana because you forgot to bring pants.
That's right. I didn't realize. I forgot about that. But I bought more when I got home. I've got like 3 pairs of these.
Looks like you washed a pin in the pocket of those.
I should have bought more. Yeah, there's the 2 of them have like blue streaks on them, which doesn't matter too much.
Yeah,
but they're stretchy.
Yeah, same with the Piranha
Super
Zons.
comfortable.
I actually wore those. Me and you both wore those today when we were out scouting, and pretty comfy. I noticed the burrs stuck in them a little bit, but you're going to find hard pressed to find
pants.
something that doesn't.
Yeah.
So, anyways, both pretty good pant choices, especially just for like an excursion.
What do
pant
those
or
run?
whatever.
They're a little bit more
Yeah,
expensive.
they were
right?
more expensive. I think that if you were to buy these at like an REI or something, they're going to be pushing $70. If you get them on Amazon, if you watch, they'll drop down in the 40s, and that's when I always buy them, is when they're in the 40s. They kind of fluctuate up and down depending on the color. You can also get these in like mint and teal and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. So you can be ready for Easter.
That's right.
Easter egg hunting. It's a different kind of hunting. So kind of going through here. I don't know where we go next, but
I think we're just going to go straight to outers unless you've kind of got like a mid. Well, let me kind of transition us to outers.
Sure.
My next piece that I wear like all the time is this Stratus vest.
I want one bad.
I bought this, I don't know, I guess before the 2017 season, I think, because I really had a hard time with the wind. I had an outer jacket that was warm, but anytime the wind blows, it cuts right through it. This has the wind stopper in it.
The Stratus line is pretty much a wind stopper, right?
Yes, so the Stratus line is just going to be an outer shell that's a wind stopper, pretty much. So we'll talk about more of the other pieces in the Stratus, but this one is the vest. It's got the little handy pass-through for your
which I think
harness.
they're getting rid of that in the new system now.
I think, aren't they? They're doing like a little
It's like a button
zigzag thingy. Right?
It's like a button, what is this called? Collar comes off or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like I had a little bit of input in that.
Tyler was part of the R&D on that deal.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, we get to the stand and we go to layering. Well, we've got a harness on. We get hooked in. You don't want to like have to unhook and be unsafe to put on more clothes. So sometimes you just end up putting that thing through the back of your
up the collar.
nap there, which isn't that big of a deal, but it is nice to not have it kind of sticking up behind on the back of your head, especially when you got hair that kind of gets caught in it, whatever. But anyways, this is one of my favorite pieces for sure. I wear this thing a lot, even if we're at camp or whatever. I know you probably shouldn't for scent or whatever, but just make sure you're hunting the wind. Anyways, it's got pockets in it that are pretty warm because your hand actually goes inside the wind stopper. I don't like to wear gloves at all, really, unless it's just dead cold and I have to. But you can put your hands inside these pockets, and then it blocks them from the wind, and you stay pretty warm inside there. It's actually a little dirty in there because I do that too much. But and then you got a little zippered chest pocket, which a lot of the Sitka pieces do. But that's a pretty warm, good piece to have for your upper, and that's really the only wind blocker I need on my upper because my arms don't really get that cold.
Yeah, I for my mid. So actually, I just as a kind of a side note here, since we're kind of in that mid or whatever, I think this is a core midweight.
Looks like it.
And it's actually feels like every bit as big as that heavyweight, pretty much. I mean, I don't know, it just feels like that, but it may not be. Anyway, I got this given to me for Christmas. It's in the subalpine, so like when we're running around on the plains or wherever we're running around, or in the elk woods or whatever. This is probably what I'll have kind of on the outside. It won't keep me from getting too hot. So another thing that I wear, so like I guess I've got a couple of this tends to be a mid, I guess you could say, but this is one of my favorite pieces of gear that I have. This was also given to me as a Christmas present a couple years ago, and I don't know the exact model, but it's Scree, and it's just a puffy. This
down
thing is
puffy,
like,
right?
yeah, it's a down puffy,
Yeah.
so it's real down. It's literally, I mean, it's so light. It's like 12 or 13 ounces. It's not even a pound. It has a stuff sack. I'm not sure if it's in the pocket or not, but this thing stuffs down pretty.
I feel as if you
tight.
lost the stuff sack one time. They sent
I
you
did.
another
They
one.
sent me another one. Yep, and I think I lost that one since.
Yeah.
Which I think it's in this pocket. But anyway, this thing, like, you do not walk in this thing. Okay, don't go in wearing this because you will turn into a plastic trash bag oven. You know what I mean?
Pizza
Like,
oven, yeah.
there's nothing that can come out sweat wise or whatever. But like when I get to the stand, this usually ends up being like after my core heavyweight, this is what goes on, and the down is the real deal. Like, and I can attest to that. Also, in 2017, we were on the mountain in October on that sheep hunt when winter arrived, and Heath had on a down puffy of a different brand, and like he had down puffy bottoms as well, and like. I was like, I had every layer on I could, and I could not. I was so cold, I couldn't even glass, And he's just over there, just like, doing whatever in the down. It's the real deal. So, I love that piece when it's pretty cold. And then on top of that, this is kind of one of my outers, I guess. The Celsius, which we both have.
We both have one of those. That's it was kind of another one of our first pieces we bought, just because. It was like the best way to get into a Sitka outer that's warm that wasn't super expensive. Right? I think these are $200 retail or something like that.
Yeah, that's about right.
And they are pretty warm. There's some things with the design that's a little bit strange. Like the sides right here don't have quite the insulation for some reason.
They do that on several pieces, I think, too, don't they?
I think they just worry about it being bunched underneath your arms or something. You don't want you, Michelin Man it or whatever, which kind of makes sense. But
and also, this is designed as a mid-layer.
Yeah.
So I understand that, I guess. But we use it as an outer.
A lot of times, and a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's an outer until you need that like extra super Fanatic or Stratus jacket to go over it to keep the wind or water off of you or whatever. So this paired with my Stratus vest is usually pretty much all I'm going to need, as long as I've got a decent layer underneath. And this is kind of designed to be like a puffy, just synthetic. It's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot heavier than a down puffy. But
It's super comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's really soft, everything.
I do feel like the sleeves and shoulders are a touch tight.
Well, yours is a large, right?
Yeah.
Mine's an XL.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I would say if you're going to use it, even as a mid, it should
I think
probably
they've
buy it a little bit
revamped
bigger.
this thing actually now. I don't think you can buy this.
Okay.
I think it's the Celsius Midi now, which is even a touch more puffy-like.
I got
It's
you.
got like a weave to it or something. I don't know. But it's probably just an improved version of what we have here. So probably pretty nice.
This is an XL as well, which these run really athletic, I guess you could say. They're pretty tight. So XL for that. XL for this for me because I like to put lots of layers on. I know like sometimes we'll be sitting in the stand. Like for instance, last year we were sitting on one of the new permission pieces we got in the Midwest, and it was 17 degrees, I think, that morning. You're like, how many layers do you have on it? I was like, like 14.
You had on everything you had.
It was,
And we
dude.
both stayed warm. I think I had one less on you that morning. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might have been the wind. It was hitting you harder. I don't know. But it was that was a very, very cold morning for sure. This is a newer piece that I have. I haven't got to wear this as much, but I think I'm going to wear it more this season. This is the Equinox, depending on who you are, hoodie, which kind of matches those pants that we have. I think this might replace the Fanatic hoodie for me.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I find myself with the Fanatic hoodie, I don't really wear it in. I usually put it on. So it's kind of difficult to put a true hoodie over your head while you're in the tree stand.
Yeah.
And I think it is going to be a touch warmer than the Fanatic hoodie, but I think it's going to kind of take that place because it has the ninja mask and everything in it. So I think it might take the place of the Fanatic for me.
Yeah.
Kind of as that, early to mid-season piece. If you're in Texas, this might get you all the way to December. If you're in the Midwest, it might be might do you good for the rut, just depending on what the cold front's like. But kind of a neat little piece.
Yeah, this was a new piece to me last year as well. And on that same day we were just talking about, I used this. It's the Stratus jacket. And so, like, there's no insulation, really. Like, it's just straight up supposed to be a wind blocker. And so, to me, I struggle to, like, feel like I get any warmth out of it. But I guess it makes sense that it would be there. But it's got a zip hoodie that you can take off or whatever. And the one place that I used this that I thought it did a good job for me doing something outside of what it's supposed to do is, like, actually in a mist that we had in, I guess it was late November there. We had a misty day, and we had two bucks coming at the same time, and it was just couldn't figure out how to get it done that morning, but they were in on us. But it was misting like the whole morning, and this kept me pretty dry. And I think that just like that windproof aspect is enough to like be water resistant pretty heavily too. So
I want one of those pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think that I might buy one of those just because I like the rest of the Stratus stuff. I have the vest, and then kind of the matching piece to that is this set of Stratus bibs.
So we split these up. These were given to us as well. And I have the pants.
Yeah.
It's the Stratus pants, Stratus jacket.
Figured that since I already purchased the Stratus vest, I'd take the bibs. You could take that, and then we'd both have a full suit pretty much.
Yeah.
I've had Realtree bibs in the past and liked them a lot. The Stratus bibs are one of my favorite things that I have because the side zipper comes way up past my hip. So all I have to do is unzip them, step right in, and they're on. Like, it's about as easy as you're going to ever add a layer on your bottom. Add that to the wind blocker and the fact that it comes up way up above, my chest.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like a pair of waders. Like, it's way up there. So that's a huge extra layer of warmth that I get from these things. And I feel like that the wind blocker in these things works really, really well for me. My bottom half doesn't really get that cold anyways. So just these with a little bit of lower insulation. I've got these boots that come up to my knees. These are... what are they? What's the brand? Lacrosse, right?
Yeah.
Lacrosse 800 grain Thinsulate. These were in the Sitka Elevated 2 at one point in time. They since have pretty much just turned gray because I go through so much weeds and stuff. Briars have pulled the camouflage off of them, but they still work well. They're still very warm. They are quite heavy, but that's okay because you need something heavy to stay warm in the tree stand. You put these on. They come all the way up nearly to your knee, and then you've got just, some thigh to worry about keeping warm. You can stay pretty toasty in combination with all this stuff. And these Stratus bibs fit pretty well over this big old boot. So you
kind of wide leg.
Yeah, they're kind of wide leg. A lot of times it's kind of a struggle to get something over a boot that big.
Sure, yeah. See that, and so I'm a little bit jealous because I like bibs too.
Yeah.
And these are not nearly as effective because, like I said earlier, we walk a lot.
What are those?
These are the Stratus pants.
Okay.
Sorry. So I got the pants and the jacket. You got the bibs and the vest. And so these pants don't have a zipper on them. So you have to wear them in. We walk a lot, and I don't want to wear something that, like, it's windproof. In other words, like, there ain't going to be no drying of your perspiration. You know what I mean?
But for like a private land guy
who
has to just take a really slow, casual stroll down the stand or whatever, trying to not spook stuff, that's a really good piece.
For sure.
Right?
I mean, I've hunted spots where, walk 200 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can do that, that's fine. That'd be awesome, Or if I could drive, had a, Easy Go or whatever they got nowadays that is electric and drives in, that'd be fine. I wouldn't mind these at all. But for me, the bibs is like, I'm jelly, bro.
Yeah.
I want them for real.
Well, we might have to split the cost on a jacket and some bibs and split those up again this year. Or
Maybe,
something.
yeah.
But I think that's about it. Minus, like, I've got like a bonus piece. So, like, we talked about going across the plains a lot. This is something I bought for elk hunting. It's the Traverse Cold Weather Hoodie. Super warm, not super lightweight, but a great piece. If you're going
Seems to fit you well, too.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend some time on the ground, this thing is awesome because it's got Berber fleece on the inside, warm pockets. It's got a ninja mask in it. The sleeves have pretty tight cuffs, so it's not like I don't like this big floppy thing down here,
Yeah.
So It's pretty nice. It's one of my more favorite pieces that I have too. So my wife likes this one too. I have to keep it hidden from her. Girls like hoodies, like oversized hoodies. It's a thing that they do. So, yeah.
So I like normal sized hoodies. Which
you do
actually,
like hoodies.
I've got. This is what I wear on most trips. Nowadays is I got some of these made last year. The just has our little logo on it or whatever. But
I've got one over here too.
Yeah, they're
I wear that.
just black. But if you were like ground blind sitting, I mean, this is something that is perfectly fine too. But that's my lounge wear. Anyway, those are on the website if you like that, as well as those hats there. As far as like the rest of the camo system goes, I guess my boots. I don't have I've got some boots that are great boots, but they're more like a Western approach style of boot. It's they happen to be a touch tight. They had 13s, and I'm normally a 14, and so they're a touch tight, which, like you said earlier, a tight boot tends to cut circulation a little bit. So my feet can get really cold in those. But I do have some, I think they're 1,000 gram Thinslet, just like Redheads that my dad bought me, Redhead brand boot. They're huge. They look like, they're outrageous looking. I mean, on a 14, you know what I mean? So, and they've got so much Thinslet in there. But there's good room in there. They, like, walking in long distance, you would think they just slide around and everything, but they're actually pretty comfortable to wear. And I just didn't bring them. Forgot to bring them, but I've been wearing those a lot.
I've done that even to a greater extent whenever I was hunting in the past, young and didn't have a lot of money. I actually went to Walmart and bought the best pair of whatever their brand was, Wolverine or something, like heavy Thinslet boots. They're ugly, but they keep you warm. Like Thinslet's Thinslet, right? So it's going to keep you warm either way. Yeah. And that's what I did. I think I had a size 13 in those, and I wear size 11s, so that way I'd actually have the extra room to put the extra socks on and stuff.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That was kind of a nice thing to do. You don't always have to buy like really expensive boots to keep your feet warm. It's just find what works.
I mean, Thinslet is a material, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're some kind of processed material. So, it makes sense. There are other ways, obviously, to cut costs here, but hopefully you got some value out of the pieces that we have tried so far and what we had to say about them, help you spend your money more wisely if you're considering any of this stuff. Another thing you can go look at is our video that we just recently posted, but we actually did this video on Facebook Live at the ATA show this past year in February. We were basically live with Chris, James, and John, who all helped develop the new Fanatic 2.0 or whatever, I guess, system, right? And so that was cool. They talk about how much stock they put into being quiet, which is a pretty. I mean, when you get deep in the woods hunting Texas public, sometimes it can get pretty quiet back there. So.
And then the further you go north, I just feel like a lot of times if you're in those single digits, double digit, 20s or whatever, the woods get real quiet and calm.
Yep.
So that's when you have to really worry about that stuff. And then making sure it stays warm and it's something that's practical to wear. You add all those three things up, it gets kind of difficult to make a good piece.
Yeah.
But
they've made some cool. They've made some cool, very neat and practical adjustments to the gear, and so go check that out as well. Also, don't leave yet because we are doing a giveaway. We had 100,000 downloads pretty recently on the podcast. We hit that milestone. And so we are doing a giveaway that is an association with our podcast, essentially. So if you're watching this on the video, you have to give us a review on the podcast.
That's right.
To be eligible. So whatever app that would entail, I guess, it needs to be pretty much Apple Podcasts are the ones that we're going to be looking through. But we've got several items and things that we're going to be doing for this giveaway. The first one that we have decided on, which this is my pair, and I actually haven't used these yet, but the box is a little bit dirty. But we have a clean box pair that's brand new of these Diamondback Vortex.
Those
They're
are
10 by 42s, right?
10 by 42s.
So
I've used these for, I think, 3 years now. I actually got them as a gift for my groomsmen got those for me. And they've been money. I love 10-power binoculars. I think that's where you want to be. I don't like the 8-power stuff. A lot of dudes whitetail hunt with 8 powers. I ain't into it.
Yeah, I don't either, man.
I like it, man.
I like the 10s too, man. So these are 10 by 42 Vortex Diamondback binos, and that is one of the things we're going to give away. Like I said, you have to give a review to be eligible to win those. We'll be looking through the Apple Podcast app and looking at our reviews. to see, and we will randomly, go through and check somebody or find somebody who has reviewed positively our podcast.
That's right. We like 5 stars for sure.
Yeah.
And also, don't despair if you gave us a review a while back, because this is for any review.
Yep.
We just feel like that's the only way to do this fairly, right? Like, we'd hate for you to be like, well, I've already given my review, and I would have won like a Sitka hat or whatever we gave away in the past. You know, it's like, man, those are Vortex binoculars.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad. There will be 1 through however many reviews we have will be evaluated.
That's right.
We're going to give away the Vortex binoculars, a couple OnX single state premiums, right?
Premium memberships.
Premium memberships.
Yep.
And then if we get to 300 reviews.
I mean, there's no telling what we'll give away, but I do know that we're going to be giving something away that has to do a little bit with like a whitetail photography side.
Yeah, maybe
right?
like the type of photography you don't have to be there for.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of options coming up. We're going to also see what we can derive to give a few more potential possibilities for you guys to win in this giveaway, because we really do appreciate all the downloads.
That's right. We appreciate the reviews and the kind words too. And if you see something you like in this video and you want us to give it away, mention that in the review, and maybe if you're the one we draw, we'll give you that too.
Sure, yeah. And if you're watching the video, same thing. Go down here and comment in the bottom and let us know which piece you like, and maybe we can find a way to give that away as well.
Yeah.
A new one, something that's not used.
I don't know. I need to get rid of that Fanatic hoodie. It's got some holes in it. But if this is your first time seeing us on YouTube or listening to us on the podcast, either way, go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to our channel, because we have been, Tyler particularly works a lot on the YouTube channel. He's kind of the main video guy. I actually uploaded a video the other day. I was pretty proud of myself.
Yeah.
But the channel's like looking really good these days. Be sure and watch Nameless because it's bad to the bone. And subscribe to the channel, because we've got some pretty big stuff coming up this season. And we've got a lot of tags to fill this season.
We do.
So
Good tags,
hopefully
too.
there will be some video of said tags being filled.
That's right, man. And last year you filled a tag in the Elkwoods, which is a really good video. It's got about 30,000 views on it now. So go check that out too. 2018 elk hunt with KC. He's self-filmed and had basically just littered the ground with arrows out there.
Pieces of arrows and everything.
So,
public land DIY, over the counter.
Baby.
Throwing arrows everywhere.
So many acronyms. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope this was helpful to you. And just remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.